All right, it is Thursday, July 9th, and we have a thunderstorm coming in. I just moved the girls. This is an area they were on 3 weeks ago, I think. And all I'm doing is moving them back to an area where they haven't been yet, because if I moved them the other direction, it gets way too wet over that way. So this had 2 weeks rest, and I put them in for 4 days and they just annihilated it. And so I just moved them here. And if you look at the grass, it's got nice long tips and it's tender. It's delicious. Like, this is second cutting. Hey, this is the good stuff. But again, one of the reasons we move them is to keep them away from parasites. So it's not the best idea to move them back through where they've been, but I don't have any other path really. So the next move, they will be in an area that they were on 4 weeks ago. And then I'll send them even farther to areas where they haven't even been yet. In the meantime, we're waiting for a dry spell for the other solar sites that are crawling with snails to get rid of their snails. So what I like about this site is it's very open. There are no cab lines. And when I do mow it, it's gonna be way easier than all the other sites combined. There is not much soil here, and there's only like maybe 1/4 of an inch in some places, and it's bedrock. So if we do have a dry spell, this dries out just brutally. So I call it the portfolio of pastures, and it's about working with what you have and understanding your local environment and microenvironments so that you can keep the sheep where they're going to do well and put them on areas that might be too wet only in dry periods. So you can pretty much graze them everywhere. You just have to be cognizant of how wet is it. And during a dry spell, those wet ones, they dry out, but they still have plenty of moisture in that soil. So that's the way it's gonna work. So that's an update, July 9th, 2026. And we are still scaling up. Another couple of years, if we have good lamb crops, a couple of years in a row, we ought to be up to the numbers that we need to actually really crank through a place like this. And I have another place that's kind of the sister site across the street, across the road. And I'd like to have enough animals so I can grind through both of those spots and maybe even put one half of the flock in this one and one half of the flock in the other one and see how that works. But those are my thoughts. July 9th, 2026. Mark Shepard, Healing Pastures, the Farm Church. And to me, this is what it's all about, is creating an environment where the animals thrive, where they're in a low stress situation, where they have plenty of really nutritious food, and there's a diversity of plants. So they get everything they need. And then the other piece is we give them apple cider vinegar mixed with sea salt and molasses. That has been a game changer, and I learned about that from an alternative veterinarian by the name of Will Winter. Look him up on YouTube. He has some pretty intelligent things to say. And one of the comments he made to me when I was trying to figure out the snail issue was like, yeah, sheep did not evolve in wetlands. They're not a marsh or bog species. He was right. He was absolutely right. So the water is just about done, and I'll bring more water tomorrow, but we have pretty much a tank and a half right here. So even if it's hot, they have plenty. and I come here every day. I don't leave them for a week, which a lot of solar guys do. I would have to have a different water infrastructure if I did, which I tried last year, but it was a pain. It's just easier to just have a small tank on my truck and just check the water level every day and give them a little more. That works for me. And yeah, so that's it. Peace, love, grooviness, over and out. We are doing pretty well. We have some limpers, but we did have some fly strike, but we got through that and they're healing. And so I think, knock on wood, we're gonna be okay for the foreseeable future. Peace, love, grooviness, over and out. Amen.